I say, in addition to all citizens of this country, Democrats, Independents, Republicans, regardless of how they may have voted, that it is a satisfying moment to me, and I want to express my appreciation to all of them and to Mr. Nixon personally. I particularly want to thank all those who worked so long and so hard in this campaign on our behalf and who were generous to me in my visits throughout the country and who were generous enough to support me in the election on yesterday. To all Americans, I say that the next 4 years are going to be difficult and challenging years for us all. The election may have been a close one, but I think that there is general agreement by all of our citizens that a supreme national effort will be needed in the years ahead to move this country safely through the 1960s. I ask your help in this effort, and I can assure you that every degree of mind and spirit that I possess will be devoted to the long-range interests of the United States and to the cause of freedom around the world. So now my wife and I prepare for a new administration and for a new baby. Thank you.
For the first time in this reporter's knowledge, in the months and months that I've covered him, I noticed for the first time some real emotion in the president-elect. A glint of tears in his eyes, and his voice cracked once or twice. The president-elect is surrounded by many members of his family, his sisters Eunice and Pat and Jean, his brother Robert Kennedy, who is also his campaign manager. That's Robert Kennedy on the far left. And, of course, Father Joseph Kennedy, the one-time ambassador to the Court of St. James. Next to him was Teddy, the youngest of the Kennedy boys, right there in the center of your screen. He's 28 years old and was the senator's far western campaign manager. And after that is the mother, Rose Kennedy. And then the rest of the Kennedy girls, Pat Lawford, and Robert's wife, Ethel. And now the president-elect is making his way from the stage. So for John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the long campaign comes to an end, and a successful one for him, despite the fact that the popular vote was a very, very narrow affair. Actually, Senator Kennedy decided to make the supreme bid for the nation's highest office for his party's nomination just a few weeks after he failed by a whisker to get his party's vice presidential nomination in 1956. What followed was almost 4 years of continuous campaigning, crisscrossing the nation, going from state to state, talking to delegates, going back time and again to make sure that these delegates stayed with him. The rest of the story, of course, is history. His first ballot nomination in Los Angeles in July. And then since then, the slam-bang campaign against Vice President Nixon, which ended about an hour ago when the Vice President publicly and formally conceded defeat. As he heads back to the compound, can look forward to at least 2 or 3 days of complete rest, complete relaxation. For Kennedy, it's been non-stop now for 7 months, first through the grueling primaries, then the convention, then the campaign itself. And at the end of the road, at the Rainbow was that pot of gold for him, which was the White House. Rather nostalgic scene to any veteran campaigner. I feel like I ought to be in the buses charging off down the highway.